She gave him loyalty when he had nothing. He gave her abandonment when he finally had something. Years later, life gave him one last look at what he lost. But by then, the peace he once took for granted was gone. This is the peace he ignored for noise. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Now, let's begin. In a generation where almost every girl wanted escape more than love, Ada was different. Most girls around her talked about soft life, traveling abroad, expensive weddings, luxury cars, and men worthy enough to rescue them permanently from suffering. Ada only wanted peace. And somehow, against all logic, she believed peace could still exist inside love. That belief that would later break her heart. She met Chinedu in a struggling neighborhood in Enugu where hardship matured people too early. The roads were dusty. The buses were overcrowded. The sound of generators compete with church speakers almost every evening. Electricity disappeared so often that people stopped being surprised whenever darkness swallowed entire streets. Sometimes water stopped running for days, for weeks. Sometimes food becomes scarce enough that family quietly reduce portions without discussing it. Life there was survival first, dream comes second. But in the middle of that struggle, Ada loved Chinedu sincerely. Not the kind of love people displayed on social media. Not the kind that depend on expensive gifts or public validation. Ada loved quietly, dangerously quietly. The kind of love that gives until there is almost nothing left to give. Back then, Chinedu had graduated from university but remained unemployed. Months become years. Every failed interview chipped away at his confidence. At first, friends encouraged him. Then encouragement became pity. Eventually, even pity disappeared. Relatives became worse. Every family gathering felt like an interrogation. So what are you doing now? When will you settle down? When will you get a job? Your mates are already progressing, doing well, as if he did not already know. But Ada stayed, not because she was perfect. There were days she became frustrated too. Days she cried after defending him against people who called him unserious. Days she wondered whether she was carrying enough hope for two people. One evening after another failed interview, she looked at him and said softly, "Chinedu, sometimes I am tired of carrying hope for both of us." For a moment, neither spoke. Then the next morning she was back again, encouraging him like the conversation never happened. One hot afternoon, she rushed into his room carrying a newspaper she bought at Ogbete Market. "Chinedu," she called. He barely looked up from the mattress. "What happened?" "I found another opening." He sighed immediately. "Ada, leave it. This one is different." She just believed. "You always say that," she smiled, "because one day I will be right." The interview was in Lagos, an oil and gas company, a real opportunity, but Chinedu shook his head. "I don't even have transport money to go to Lagos or proper clothes to dress for the interview." Ada became quiet. Then she smiled. "We will find a way." That sentence stayed in him, not because it solved anything, because nobody had said "we" to him in a very long time. Days before the interview, Ada used some money she had saved from selling clothes in the market to buy him a clean white shirt and a black trouser. That night, while most people slept, she washed his older clothes and scrubbed his shoe under lantern light because electricity had disappeared again. Before dawn, while Chinedu pretended to be asleep, Ada placed her hand gently on his head. "God," she whispered, "please don't let this man suffer forever." Tears gathered in his eyes. Nobody had ever prayed for him like that before. And the next morning, Ada gave him little money, but enough for a night bus to Lagos and back, and enough to pay for a modest lodge while he attended the interview. The interview changed everything. 2 weeks later, he got the job. Ada celebrated harder than he did. She danced inside the compound, called her friends, thanked God repeatedly. For the first time in years, life seemed willing to give Chinedu a chance. At first, Lagos strengthened their relationship. They spoke every night, sometimes for hours. Chinedu talked about marriage, about bringing her to Lagos, about the future they would build together. Ada believed every word, because love makes promises sound permanent. But Lagos changes people carefully, not immediately. First, it changes what impresses them. Then it changes what embarrasses them. The money Chinedu earned wasn't enough to make him rich, but it was enough to make him ashamed of where he came from, ashamed of old struggles, ashamed of simplicity, and eventually ashamed of Ada. Then Sandra entered his life. Sandra was everything Lagos celebrated loudly. Beautiful, big back and front, confident, fashionable, connected. Beside her, Chinedu felt closer to the successful man he always wanted to become. Sandra wasn't evil. She simply represented a future that looked brighter than the one he came from. And Chinedu became addicted to that feeling. The calls to Ada reduced. The affection reduced. The excuses increased. Distance grew quietly between them. Still, Ada loved faithfully, blindly, dangerously blindly. Then one rainy weekend, she decided to surprise him in Lagos. The journey from Enugu was exhausting. Traffic held vehicle hostage for hours. Rain soaked her clothes. But she smiled throughout the journey because love was still alive inside her chest. By the time she reached his apartment, night had already fallen. She knocked. A few seconds later, Chinedu opened the door and froze. Sandra was inside, wearing his shirt. Everything inside Ada collapsed immediately. Nobody spoke. Rain hammered against the windows. Sandra looked at Ada, up and down, then smirked. So this is your Ada, not the woman you love, not your girlfriend, just Ada. Small, ordinary, replaceable. Ada looked desperately at Chinedu, waiting for an explanation, for denial, for something. But silence confessed faster than words ever could. Then Sandra folded her arms. She can't sleep here tonight. Either she leaves or I leave. And in that exact moment, Ada understood something devastating. The same man she once prayed for, the same man she once helped survive, now was more afraid of losing another woman than losing her. So Ada turned and walked away into the rain, with nowhere to go. She spent the night inside an abandoned roadside kiosk. At dawn, she boarded a bus back to Enugu. She had traveled to Lagos with hope, but returned home with heartbreak. At first, Sandra felt like proof that Chinedu had finally escaped suffering. Everything about her looked expensive. The perfume she wore, the designer handbag she carried, the restaurants she visited, the people she knew. Besides Sandra, Chinedu no longer felt like the unemployed Enugu boy who once counted transport fare before leaving home. For the first time in his life, he felt important, and that feeling became addictive. Sandra understood Lagos perfectly. She understood appearances. She understood status. Most importantly, she understood insecure men. Within months, Chinedu's entire lifestyle changed. Sandra introduced him to rooftop lounges on Victoria Island, private birthday parties, and wealthy young professionals who measured success through attention. Whenever Chinedu posted pictures online, old classmates suddenly reappears. Chairman, Odogwu, big man, Lagos don't change you. Even relatives who once ignored him now called regularly. The attention felt good, too good. Slowly, Chinedu began measuring his value through admiration. Meanwhile, Ada disappeared completely from his life. No emotional messages, no public drama, no begging, nothing. That silence disturbed him more than anger would have. Sometimes late at night, after Sandra fell asleep, he remembered Ada, remembered the white shirt, remembered the prayers, remembered the way she believed in him when nobody else did. But those memories made him uncomfortable because sincerity becomes difficult to face when somebody starts choosing image over substance. Then Sandra introduced him to an investment opportunity through one of her wealthy friends. It was one of those fast-growing schemes that promised unbelievable returns. It's called MMM. According to them, the profit was guaranteed, tested, and trusted. This is how rich people multiply money, Sandra assured him confidently. At first, Chinedu hesitated. Something about it felt too good to be true. But Sandra knew exactly where to strike. You can't keep thinking small, Chinedu. Do you want to remain like this forever? That sentence trapped him emotionally. Still, he was careful. He started with a small investment. Within a few months, the returns looked impressive. He doubled his initial investment. The money kept growing. His confidence grew. Then greed quietly replaced caution. Believing he had finally discovered the shortcut to wealth, Chinedu invested almost everything. His savings, his emergency funds, even borrowed money from colleagues at work. Then, one morning, the entire scheme collapsed. The organization disappeared, phone numbers stopped connecting, websites went off, the money vanished overnight, and suddenly Sandra changed. Not dramatically, gradually, dangerously gradually. Affection disappeared first, then patience, then loyalty. One evening, Chinedu arrived unexpectedly at her apartment after several ignored calls. Another man opened the door, older, confident, comfortable inside her apartment. For a moment, Chinedu felt his heartbeat disappeared. Then Sandra appeared behind the man. No panic, no guilt, only irritation. You should have called first. Chinedu stared at her. You lied to me. Sandra folded her arm. No. Then she replied calmly, I adapted. The sentence shattered him because suddenly everything became clear. Sandra never loved struggle. She loved comfort. The moment suffering entered the relationship, loyalty quietly left through the back door. You used me, Chinedu whispered. Sandra laughed softly. No. Then she looked directly into his eye. That other girl actually loved you. That word landed heavily. You abandoned peace because excitement looked better. For the first time in years, Chinedu had no defense because deep down, he knew she was right. That night, he drank alone until sunrise. For the first time, success felt empty. For the first time, Lagos looked cold. For the first time, he wondered what life would have looked like if he had never let Ada walk away. But life had already moved forward. Far away in Enugu, Ada was fighting a different battle. The betrayal had changed her deeply. She no longer trusted promises. She no longer trusted romance. No longer trusted herself enough to love again softly. People assumed she was healing, but the truth was harder. She was just surviving. One rainy evening, Ada sat alone in her room, staring at a wedding invitation from a friend. Olivia weds Jude. The gold letter shimmered beneath the dim light. For a moment, her mind drifted to the dream she once carried quietly in her heart. Ada weds Chinedu, a future she had imagined countless times, a future she had prayed for, a future she had sacrificed for. Yet somehow, those imagined words felt heavier than the invitation resting in her hands, because one was a celebration of love, the other was the burial of a dream. Rain tapped softly against the zinc roof. For hours she sat there staring, not crying, not speaking, just staring. His number still exists inside her phone. One call, one message, one final attempt. That was all it could take. Instead, she opened her contact and deleted his number. Then she opened her wardrobe, folded her clothes carefully, packed a small bag, And before sunrise the next morning, Ada boarded the bus, not to find another man, not to start another relationship, but to find the version of herself she had lost while loving someone who stopped loving her. That journey eventually led her to the convent. Years later, people would know her as Sister Maria. But on that rainy morning, she was simply a broken girl searching for peace. And somewhere in Lagos, Chinedu was beginning to discover a painful truth. Some people only recognize the value of sincere love after they have already traded it away. 2 years after Sandra left him, Chinedu convinced himself he had healed. But healing was not what happened. He had simply become used to disappointment, used to silence, used to waking up every morning without expecting too much from anybody anymore. That is not healing. That is emotional excursion wearing the mask of maturity. Then he met Amara. Unlike Sandra, she was not flashy. She wasn't chasing attention. She dressed well, spoke carefully, and carried herself like someone who had seen hardship and never wanted to return to it. On their third date, she looked directly at him and said, "I cannot marry a poor man." There was no shame in her voice, no apology, just honesty. "I suffered too much growing up," she continued. "I don't want that kind of life again." Chinedu should have recognized the warning. Instead, he felt relieved. At least she wasn't pretending. After Sandra's gain and Ada's painful sincerity, Amara's honesty felt safe. The relationship moved quickly, not because they were deeply connected, because both of them were tired. Amara wanted security, Chinedu wanted stability. Within a year, they got married. The wedding was simple. Family members danced, friends prayed money, pictures flooded WhatsApp status and Facebooks. From the outside, everything looked successful. Inside, something important was missing. At first, the marriage worked. Not extraordinarily, not passionately, but peaceful. Then the children came. A son came first. Then a daughter followed, soon too. For a while, their small apartment felt alive. Children laughter filled the rooms. Birthday celebrations were simple but happy. Some night, Chinedu watched his family sleeping and convinced himself he had finally found peace. Then life became expensive. The economy worsened. School fees increased, rent increased, fuel price increased, food prices increased, everything increased except their income. At first, Amara tried her best. She cut expenses, started buying cheaper brands, stopped spending on herself, but the pressure never stopped. Debt entered the marriage quietly, and slowly Amara changed. Not overnight, little by little. The same woman who once waited excitedly for Chinedu to return home now looked worried all the time. One evening, Chinedu sat exhausted at the dining table, surrounded by unpaid bills. Amara dropped another school fees receipt in front of him. "It's due next week." "I am trying my best," he replied. Amara laughed bitterly. "Trying doesn't pay school fees, Chinedu." Those words hurt. Not because they were cruel, because they were true. Weeks later, after another argument, Amara finally broke down. Tears filled her eyes. "You think I enjoy living like this?" Chinedu remained silent. "Every day I woke up afraid of death, afraid the landlord will embarrass us, afraid our children will suffer the way I suffered." For the first time, he saw her pain clearly. She wasn't a wicked woman. She was a frightened woman. One night after the children had fallen asleep, Amara stood alone in the kitchen. Only half a bag of rice remained. A few sachets of tomato paste sat on the shelf. The freezer was almost empty. She stared at them silently. Then she began to cry. Not because of the food, because she was tired of being afraid. Unfortunately, fear changes people, and fear had been changing Amara for years. Then one evening, Chinedu returned home from work and noticed something strange. The apartment was unusually quiet. Half the wardrobe was gone. Some suitcases were gone. Important documents were missing. A cold fear entered his chest. He immediately checked their joint account, empty. Every naira was gone. By night, reality became unavoidable. Amara had left. 2 days later, he discovered the truth, the secret phone calls, the hiding conversation, the man abroad she had been speaking to for months, the plans that had been made without him. But what broke Chinedu completely wasn't that she left him. It was that she left the children behind. His son sat quietly staring at the door for days. Sonto kept asking the same question, "Daddy, when is mommy coming back?" And Chinedu had no answer. He forced a smile. "She traveled. When is she coming back?" The lies stuck inside his throat. "I don't know." From that day forward, Chinedu became father and mother. He learned how to cook, how to wash uniforms, how to braid Sonto's hair badly, how to survive on little sleep, how lonely responsibility becomes when nobody helps carry it. One night, after helping his daughter with homework during another blackout, Sonto looked up and asked softly, "Daddy, does mommy still love us?" That question shattered him. Later that night, he locked himself inside the bathroom and cried. Not because of Amara, not because of loneliness, but because life had finally forced him to understand abandonment, the same pain Ada carried years ago. Weeks later, searching for peace, Chinedu began attending Sunday masses at All Saints Catholic Parish with his children. One Sunday afternoon, while waiting near the church compound, he noticed Sonto talking happily with a reverend sister. "Daddy, come and meet Sister Maria," she called. Chinedu walked over. Absent-mindedly, the reverend sister turned, and he froze. The years had changed her. The white habit, the calmer face, the quiet eye, but he knew her immediately. "Ada." For a moment, Nelda spoke. Then she smiled politely. "Good afternoon." Not the smile of someone waiting for him, not the smile of an old lover, just the smile of a reverend sister greeting another parishioner. And somehow, that hurt more than anger could have. For weeks after that Sunday, Chinedu continued attending Mass with his children. At first, he avoided Sister Maria whenever possible because he did not know how to face the shame of standing before someone he had once hurt so deeply. Whenever they crossed paths, she greeted him politely, nothing more. She never mentioned the past, never asked questions, never demanded explanation, and somehow that made him feel even worse. His children, however, grew fond of her, especially Sonto. After catechism classes, she always ran to greet Sister Maria. Sometimes Sister Maria helped the children with readings. Sometimes she organized parish activities. Sometimes she simply listened when people wanted someone to talk to. Watching her from a distance unsettled Chinedu. She still carried the same kindness he remembered from years ago, only now it belongs to everyone. Months passed. Then one Sunday, news spread throughout the parish. Sister Maria had been transferred to a parish in northern Nigeria. A Saint Fort celebration was organized for her. The church compound was filled with food, music, laughter, and speeches. Children presented gifts. Women from Catholic Women Organization danced and sang. Many parishioners shared stories of how Sister Maria had helped them. Some too looked heartbroken. "Daddy, why can't Sister Maria just stay here?" Chinedu smiled sadly. "Sometimes people have to go where they are needed." The little girl frowned. "Then, can't she come and live with us?" Before he could answer, she turned towards Sister Maria. "Sister, why can't my daddy marry you?" Several adults nearby laughed softly. Chinedu wished the ground would open and swallow him. Sister Maria smiled gently. "Reverend sisters don't marry." Somto looked confused. "Why?" For a moment, Sister Maria became quiet. Then she smiled. "Because God called me to a different life. I traded the fragile promises of the world for the unbreakable vow of the Spirit." The little girl did not understand, but she accepted the answer and ran off to join the other children. But the question remained hanging between the adults. Later that evening, after most people had left, rain began falling softly across the church compound. Sister Maria stood beneath the corridor watching the rain. This time, Chinedu walked toward her. For months, he had avoided this conversation. Now he knew he would probably never have another chance. For a while, now they spoke. The rain filled the silence. Finally, Chinedu lowered his eye. "I am sorry." The word came out weaker than he intended. I should have said it years ago. Sister Maria remained quiet. I was proud. I was foolish. I thought I was choosing a better life. His voice broke slightly, but I was only chasing things that looked important. For the first time, she looked directly at him. The same eyes, the same calmness, only older, wiser. I know, she said softly. Tears gathered in Chinedu's eye, not because he wanted her back, because he finally understood what he had thrown away. For years he had carried that guilt, that regret, that shame, and suddenly he could not carry it anymore. Can you forgive me? Sister Maria smiled sadly. Chinedu, I forgave you a long time ago. He froze. The person who still needed forgiveness. She paused. Is you. For several moments, neither spoke. Then she added quietly, if we keep living inside our mistake, they continue controlling our future. The rain began slowing. People started calling for Sister Maria to join them. She turned to leave, then stopped. Life had taught both of them different lessons. Chinedu learned that not everything that shines is valuable. Sometimes the peace we are searching for is already beside us, and by the time we recognize it, it is gone. Ada learned that love is beautiful, but it should never cost a person their identity. Because the moment we lose ourselves trying to keep someone else, love stops being a gift and becomes a burden. Neither of them got the future they once imagined. But perhaps that was life's lesson. Some people enter our life to stay, others enter our life to teach us what we must never forget. And sometimes the hardest lessons leave the deepest wisdom. As Sister Maria walked away to join the waiting parishioners, Chinedu watched her disappear into the crowd, not as the woman he lost, but as the lesson he would carry for the rest of his life.